What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got more disturbing and mind-blowing TikToks. So stay locked in, because you ain't gonna believe this.
So 3 Texas sisters were found dead in a pond last summer, and police have still made no arrest. The 3 girls, all between 5 to 9 years old, were reported missing on July 28, 2022, around 9 p.m. by their cousin, who was watching them. Hours later, police found them dead in a nearby pond and ruled it a drowning. After 8 months, officials now say they were strangled, and a homicide investigation is underway. Critics say the county of 28,000 residents doesn't have the resources to investigate the 3 homicides. They also say police haven't made the case a priority because the victims are Black. A group known as the New Black Panther Nation plans to hold a town hall this month to push for justice in the case.
Why am I not surprised that it's not a priority?
Threatened to actually kill him. Now y'all killed my baby.
I lost my son. He's still walking the streets. And all 3 of them should be charged with murder.
My son gone. He can never speak to his parents again.
They're trying to say it's self-defense. Then you're in a car. My son is standing over here and your car parked over there.
Jaden's father, Harold Travis, doesn't see any reason for a 17-year-old to be confronting a 13-year-old in the first place.
Because all 3 of them planned to come here and do that.
It's gotta be rough losing a 13-year-old son, man. Gotta be rough.
On October 12, 2022, the Columbus, Ohio Division of Police responded to calls of gunshots at an apartment complex on Wedgwood Drive. Upon arriving at the scene, officers found 13-year-old Sinze Reed with multiple gunshot wounds. Sadly, Reed was brought to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. According to court records, a witness saw a man named Creed Butler pull up to the complex in a red truck. He then got out and fired his gun several times at Reed before getting back in his truck and leaving. Butler was arrested on October 13 on murder charges and held on a $1 million bond. Then, something strange happened. The charges against Butler were dropped and he was free to go. Prosecutors claim that they need to wait for the autopsy before they can either prove or disprove Butler's claim that he fired his gun in self-defense.
But y'all let him go, though.
Online postings about the case have increased the spotlight on it in recent days. Some of the postings claim that Butler allegedly admitted to having an affiliation with hate groups. Activists are calling for a federal investigation of the case.
That's why I keep my kids close to me. One day they're gonna have to get out here into this world, but I'm gonna make sure that I educate them on everything that's going on out here.
So there's an update in the case of Ralph Yarl, who's the 16-year-old Black teen who went to the wrong address to go pick up his 11-year-old brothers, and he was shot twice by the homeowner. This happened the other day in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, finally, the authorities have actually filed charges against the shooter. An 85-year-old white man named Andrew Lester has been charged with 2 crimes, assault in the first degree, and the second is armed criminal action. His bond has been set at $200,000, and if he is convicted, he could possibly get life in prison. Once Ralph rang the doorbell, there were no words exchanged, apparently. He was shot in the head with a .32 revolver by the homeowner. Wow. And then once he was on the ground, he was shot again in the upper arm. Ralph is now out of the hospital and recovering. There's been an outpouring of support for Ralph, especially on social media. There was a march that was held, sort of like a rally on Sunday, where hundreds of supporters came out and they marched towards the house where he was shot, and this was before the charges had been filed. They were filed today, April the 17th. According to his teachers and his family, Ralph is a junior at his high school. He's an excellent student and a talented musician, and he hopes to study chemical engineering at college.
Good. He got a great life ahead of him, bro. But that's unfortunate that it had to happen like that. I don't know. I want to say that the old man could have got startled, and I don't know, but he's a kid, so I don't know. Like, I don't know how that whole altercation took place or what went down. But my first resort is not to get a firearm. Like, I probably would have got like a stick or something or a bat, not a firearm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I cannot be the only person that didn't know this. This photo went viral back in 2014. It's a picture of Devontae Hart hugging a police officer at the Black Lives Matter protest in Oregon. I just saw another TikToker post about this. The name is Only Black Girl, and I am absolutely sick. That sweet little boy in that photo was unalived by his YT adoptive mom. She drove herself, her wife, and her 6 adoptive children off a cliff on purpose. And of course, we've seen it before, but the system completely failed Devontae and his siblings. There are multiple CPS cases, but nothing was ever done. Remains were eventually found of everyone except for Devontae. I really don't have a whole lot of words, but that is just absolutely sick and sad. As sad as it is, I thought some of you would want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a movie to that too, and I saw it. It kind of shed light on what happened before the whole ordeal, but I don't think it shed light on everything because you can't get the full information from the unalived people. So you're just getting bits and pieces of what people think might have happened, and they put it in a movie. But yeah, that was sad though, man. I hate that happened to them kids, man.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. DCS took away a couple's children after a traffic stop and a misdemeanor charge. And tonight, Tennessee's Democrats are pushing DCS to give the kids back.
DCS took the kids a month ago. Here's News 2's Adam Mincer.
And when I went to go reach him, the man grabbed me. He told me, don't touch him.
It was a promise to her kids she couldn't keep.
And I'm just telling him, like, it's okay. Nobody's going to separate us.
While driving from Georgia to Chicago, Bianca Claiborne and her partner, Deontay Williams, were stopped by state troopers. According to court documents, it was for having dark-tinted windows and also driving in the left lane without passing. After being pulled over, documents say the troopers smelled marijuana, and the parents admitted to smoking it. Troopers found 0.17 ounces of marijuana in the car. Later on, Claiborne's 5 kids were taken into DCS custody after a court ruling. The kids are young, ranging from 4 months old to 7 years old.
And my oldest child, he was just looking at me like confused. And I just gave him a hug and I told him it's not your fault.
Now, Democratic senators are calling for DCS to release the kids back to the parents.
It is absolutely ridiculous when marijuana is illegal in about half the states in the country that a black family got 5 of their children taken away, put into DCS that's not doing a good job of taking care of the children they already have, and they won't give them their children back for a misdemeanor charge.
In a statement, the district attorney says there's more to the story than the mother and her attorneys have put out. Highway Patrol says there was a weapon in the vehicle in possession of a convicted felon, but we have yet to see any charges filed related to that claim.
We did not arrest the mother in this particular case, and with the intentions of leaving the children with her, and that's where we left it.
DCS says they can't comment on cases and adds DCS and law enforcement follow protocol for collecting evidence. Those findings are then presented to the court. In this instance, the evidence resulted in the court placing children in DCS custody. As lawyers and officials talk, Claiborne and Williams are in Georgia.
It's like death.
Awaiting court dates.
Having children that's out in the world and you can't physically see, touch, or anything like that, it's mind-boggling.
Claiborne's attorneys say DCS is now retaliating against them for releasing certain legal documents to the public. DCS did not respond to comment on that. We're also continuing to ask the department what evidence they collected that led to these children being put in state custody. Bob?
Now, I'm going to say this right here. As black people in America, y'all, we got to understand that there's a lot of people that do that ride around, that smoke marijuana and ride with their kids in the car, and without any regards that this could possibly get your kids taken away from you, because even though marijuana is legal in about half of the states in this country, it's still illegal in some. And those that are where it's still illegal, they fought hard to keep it illegal. So if they catch you doing something like that, it could be a harsh charge, or it could be a harsh situation, or make a situation even worse, right? Maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you're on the road and people like to smoke when they're on the road. But come on, y'all, not when the kids is in the car. We got to know that, like, when you traveling across country, bro, different states, they have different rules and regulations. So because you don't know those rules and regulations of every state, you have to respect it, or even keep it in the back of your mind that, hey, I might get pulled over and these folks might have some rules and regulations that aren't similar to where I'm from. And you have to keep that in mind. And, you know, even the trooper said that we found all this stuff in the car. We left them with their kids because we knew the kids was there. But they have to, as protocol, if kids are present and things like that are going on, they have to present this stuff to CPS or DCS or whatever. They have to present that. That's law. They have to, because the kids could be in danger. And if the police let them leave and something was to happen to them kids, or somebody have an asthma attack and it comes back that the police came in contact with these people but failed to report that, then that could be on them. So it's protocol, and we gotta understand that, man. But I hope them folk got their kids back. And I hope this is a lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? That's what I hope. I mean, sometimes we feel like people take it too far, man, but that was a preventative measure. We could have prevented that.
Law enforcement says Asha Degree disappeared on February 14th, 2000 in Shelby. You're taking a look at a picture of Asha when this happened. She was 9 years old. That's on the left side of the screen. On the right is a rendering of what she might look like today. Family members say they last saw her asleep around 2:30 in the morning in their home. Then about 90 minutes later, drivers saw her walking along Highway 18. Her book bag was found buried in Burke County more than a year later. Right now, there's a $45,000 reward for information on where she might be. If you know where Asha is, you're...
Yeah, it's a lot of black kids going missing, man. More than you ever know, and ain't no Amber Alerts out about them.
Begin with a story you'll only see on 13. A traumatic experience for a little girl who called her grandmother for help before witnessing her own mother's murder. ABC 13's Jessica Willey talked with the family and is at jail.
Yeah, the accused murderer, the little girl's stepfather. Tonight he was in court, bond set at $1 million, much higher than what the state requested after two little children lost their mother.
My family is heartbroken.
In a room crowded with grieving relatives, 9-year-old Azaria fights back tears.
I'm a mess about how all the times we always need to play together.
The little girl finds comfort at her grandmother's side. 24 hours earlier,
I wouldn't
she
even
was
let her
calling
get
her
on
for
camera.
help.
My mom told me to call my grandma, and she told my grandma that Thomas pulled out a gun, and my grandma.
See, she shouldn't even be telling that to the news.
Cynthia Demerson rushed to the apartment on Bentworth off Briar Forest last night. In that same phone call, she says she heard the voice of her daughter, Jasmine McHenry.
I heard her in the background when she called me, said he's going to shoot her. And then that's when I got in my vehicle and went over there.
By the time she arrived, it was too late. Jasmine was dead and Azaria had witnessed it.
I told the police that my stepdad shot my mom.
Thomas Wilson Alexander, Jasmine's common-law husband, was arrested and charged with murder.
You're charged with the first-degree felony offense of murder.
Monday night, he was in court. Bond was set at $1 million, 10 times higher than what the state requested. The hearing officer saying he was a danger to the community. He also heard the allegations against him.
The complainant had been shot 3 times. Twice in the head at close range.
The couple had been together for at least 3 years, relatives say. They share 3-year-old Aiden, but Azaria also called him Dad. Jasmine was a devoted mother and kind-hearted. Her family saw nothing in Alexander, they say, that could have predicted this.
I have no idea why he did it, and I want to know why he did it.
She will now raise her daughter's children and seek justice.
I want him where he's at, locked up and stay.
Jessica Willey, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, that's sad right there, ladies. Got to have real discernment about who you're dating these days.
Have you guys ever heard of honor killings? Amina and Sarah were sisters born to an Egyptian American father, Yasser Saeed, and American mother, Patricia Owen Saeed. They also had a brother named Islam Saeed. Okay, so that's Yasser, the father. This is Islam, the brother. That is Sarah, the sister. And then all the way over to the right is Amina. From the outside looking in, you wouldn't be able to tell the horrors that were taking place inside of their family home. Friends of the girls would describe Amina as friendly, outgoing, talkative, and a girly girl. And her favorite color was pink. Sarah here on the left was described as a tomboy, really sweet, kind of shy, but both of them were always described and remembered by friends as having a smile on their faces. They were really athletic, and then they also were taking Taekwondo, and that's where Amina met Joseph, who secretly became her boyfriend. Despite their smiles in public, behind closed doors, they witnessed their father abuse their mother. In an interview, Patricia described her marriage as controlling and talked about times where Yasser would assault her and wake her up by hitting her and punching her on her feet. And like many victims of domestic violence, Patricia found herself caught in a cycle of abuse where she would leave and then return back to him. Okay, so in 1998, when the girls were 8 or 9, they did accuse their father, Yasser, of assaulting them. They told their aunt in Kentucky, and then they also told authorities. And Patricia actually signed an affidavit swearing that what her daughters alleged was actually true. But when I was doing my research, I found a documentary on YouTube, and she was actually saying that it wasn't true. So the aunt and other family members say that the girls were forced to change the allegation so that the father was not charged. And that's exactly what happened. They changed their story. They said that they only made up this story because they wanted to live with their grandmother. And so over the years after this incident, Yasser became even more controlling. He would follow them to school. He would follow them at work. He would videotape them at work. And Amina also believed that he had the capabilities to tap their phone. Now, once he found out that his daughters were dating, he moved them to Louisville, Texas, in an effort to break them up and keep his daughters pure. He felt that them dating was a dishonor to his family, and in his culture, it was unacceptable for girls to date, and he believed that it brought shame to his family. And Amina would even say her father would beat her and call her a whore. So like most abusers, they try to isolate you and isolate the family. And so he was able to accomplish this when he moved them to Louisville, Kentucky. So she didn't have her boyfriend. Sarah didn't have contact with her friends. But Amina did actually find an email to her old Taekwondo instructor. Look at part 2 and find out what happened.
That's sad. That is super sad. Unfortunate for those girls, man. I'm glad he was found guilty. But for people from other countries with different cultures planning on coming to America, just know America don't respect none of your culture. Okay? They don't respect it. They might give you a little respect here and and let y'all do certain things. But when it comes to stuff like that, and that's a real thing, because there was a TikTok lady on TikTok. I think she's Middle Eastern too. And she was doing stuff on TikTok, and I think her brother or her dad found out and they beat her. And nothing was done about it because that's a part of their culture. Like when women do that, when they get disrespectful like that, they call that super disrespectful. Being on social media, dancing and all that right there. It get real brutal over there with that type of stuff. But if you gonna come to America, just know they don't care nothing about your culture. They will lock your ass up, okay? Just so you know. Just a fair warning.
Black women, we have got to stop laying with men who hurt children. This is unacceptable. So y'all are looking at Stephen Beckley. In 1994, he walked a 16-year-old child to a grave that was previously dug for her, then proceeded to take turns bashing her over the head with a shovel. Then they buried her alive. Her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head and asphyxiation, and medical examiners think that she may have woken up in her grave. Prior to that, he assisted in her abduction from Texas. They drove to Arkansas, purchased a motel, and then took turns sexually assaulting her. Lisa Renee wanted to be a doctor. Straight A student. Wouldn't hurt a fucking fly. Had nothing to do with the original crime that they were going to commit, which was murdering her brother. This case caused a whole visceral reaction in my body. It does take a lot to make my jaw drop because all I do is true crime. I host a true crime podcast. But reading what Lisa Renee went through when they strapped her to that chair and brutalized her praying to God to get her out of this situation, her begging for her life from point A to point B. Black women, stop choosing men who hurt children. 8 billion people on this planet. I ain't got no more.
Okay. I get what she's saying. But how do you know if a person abused children or hurt children? You don't know. Like, you gotta, is it getting to the point where you gotta do an extensive research on somebody, like a background check? Because if that's the case, then men need to do background checks on women too. Because right now I'm just looking at videos where kids have been hurt. But there are crimes where women have killed men for stupid reasons. One was just so she can go be with her side piece. So how do you really find out if a person is really messed up? Don't, man, because people play that part. And you want to say people are crazy and insane. No, it ain't that. People have wants and needs, and some people will go to the extremes to get what they want and what they need. And that's just what it is, but you will never know. A lie detector test can't tell you that. There are no red flags. If a person is super controlled in what they're doing, it's like, hey, ain't no way to figure that out. So, how do women know? You basically just telling people to stay by themselves all their life.
Selena Mays was 12 years old and 9 months pregnant when she disappeared in December 1996. Selena had been living with her mother in Palmyra, New Jersey, until her mother unfortunately passed away in 1994. After her mom died, Selena went to go live with her father, but her life changed dramatically because of the church that her father was attending. But somehow, even under his strict supervision, Selena, at 11 years old, ended up pregnant. Selena's father said that she refused to tell him who the father was. After she disappeared on December 15, 1996, her father told police that he believed his daughter ran away because she was afraid that they were going to find out who the father of the child was. But at 12 years old and 9 months pregnant, how far could Selena have gone? Now, 27 years later, Selena and her unborn child have never been found. What really happened to Selena Mays?
Hey, as parents, we gotta be really, really strict. Kids go through things and they're so silent about the things that they go through. It'll make them make irrational decisions. And you'll wake up one day and won't even see your child no more because, let's just say, for instance, she ran off or he ran off to somebody who they felt like understands them and who listens to them. But the problem with that is most of our kids, even when we try to understand and try to hear them out or ask them what's wrong, they don't want to talk to us, but they rather talk to people outside their home. So it's just so hard being a parent. When you ask your kids what's wrong, they tell you nothing. And they don't understand that bottling that up and spilling it out to somebody else could make you super vulnerable and put you in harm's way. But if you're vulnerable with me, and let's be honest, some parents scream and holler when their kids want to express things to them, so kids don't talk to their parents. But for the ones who are willing to listen, kids should be able to speak out. And there are some that are willing to listen, some that are tender, some that are, soft and timid with their children, and the children still don't want to speak about certain things or don't feel that they should talk about things, because at the end of the day, your kids are going to go whatever route they want to go or whatever satisfies them, no matter what you tell them. But to know you have tried can calm your spirit if something bad was to happen to your child. I did what I could. I did what I was supposed to as a parent. So it's never enough. All you can do is try your best to be there for your kid, man. That's it. And hope that stuff like this don't happen.
A Topeka man is now facing first-degree murder for the death of 5-year-old Zoe Felix. Last week, the Topeka Police Department arrested 25-year-old Michael Cherry for the rape and murder of the 5-year-old. He is currently being held on a $2 million bond, charged with capital murder, felony murder, and rape of a child. Zoe was found in a field near a Topeka gas station on October 2nd after police and firefighters responded to an emergency medical call. She was rushed to a hospital where she was later pronounced dead. According to local reports, Cherry lived in the same homeless encampment as Zoe, and that Cherry and his alleged victim knew each other prior to her death. Neighbors told local reporters Zoe lived in a decrepit house that often lacked running water and electricity. Several neighbors also told local media outlets Zoe was seen numerous times running around the neighborhood unsupervised, and that several people contacted the Kansas Department for Children and Families to report the 5-year-old was a victim of neglect.
You're out to find the common sense in this, really, because you don't really expect something like this to happen to a 5-year-old if there's lots of cries for help, lots of neighbors reporting.
Claudia Richardson lives in the Topeka area. She tells me she learned of Zoe's case while researching the Kansas DCF. As a mother, she says she noticed comparisons of Zoe to her own daughter.
I mean, they're still babies at 5 years old. You know, they're coming into the world. They're still learning what, you know, street signs are and small stuff like that. They're learning to spell their name. I mean, the innocence of a 5-year-old is just kind of mind-boggling. If you're interacting with a 5-year-old, it really puts the gravity on how small Zoe was and how absolutely innocent this child was. I mean, it's heartbreaking to even think of the gruesome details, really.
Richardson organized the Justice for Zoe Felix petition, which has already garnered more than 2,000 signatures, calling for an investigation into how Zoe's case slipped through the cracks.
It just seemed every day as it went by, everybody seemed very disturbed by the details of this case, including myself. I mean,
where's the mom,
how
though?
I felt in the community, I think they're one alike. We all feel about the same regarding this 5-year-old. I mean, can you imagine a 5-year-old? It's that in itself is a lot of heaviness.
She linked up with March for Zoe, an organization dedicated to sharing Zoe's story and bringing awareness to other children who are still part of the system.
Justice for Zoe! Justice for Zoe!
I'm glad somebody's standing up for her, man.
Dozens took to the street to march.
That baby should have never had to endure that.
Cut too short.
To me, it symbolized all the people who have known somebody or knew Zoe who were like her. It's time we stop moving on. There's lots of children this has happened to. Some of them might not be dead. Some of them are living as if they were dead inside. Because
that's crazy, man. That is extremely crazy, bro.
One of the things that people have to learn, especially when you're young, is how to control yourself when people are playing in your face. This is Brianna Connor Washington. She is from Detroit, Michigan. Now, Brianna had a friend that turned into her boo thing. His name was Maurice. Now, Maurice is also from Detroit. The both of them had known each other for a little while, and then they started canoodling and being together, and so they were on again, off again, and their relationship was a little tumultuous. Like, they definitely make up to break up. That's all they do. First they love me, then they hate me. That's the game for fools, right? So it's February 2019. They had broken up, but in Bree's eyes, they were trying to get back together. I mean, that was the conversation that they were having, right? So my girl is at home. She is scrolling on Instagram, and she sees that Maurice posted an Instagram story. Opens up the Instagram story. It's him with a bottle, not just any bottle, a bottle that she bought and left over at his house. He's drinking, taking shots, and dancing, and what does she hear? A female in the background. And of course, at this point, she starts angry texting him, like, are you playing in my face? Like, I thought we were supposed to be getting back together, and you sitting here like, this is a slap in the face. You know what? I'm gonna pull up. And this whole time, Maurice is not even, like, responding. Like, now you ignoring me. And so she decides that she's gonna call her homegirl, she's gonna call her best friend, and they're gonna pull up. So then he started responding. He was like, don't you come over to my house. Do not pull up. This girl is just a friend. You tripping. And she's like, no, I am already on the way. She even calls his roommates. It's like, y'all better make sure that everything is together, because as soon as I get there, I'm coming with all the smoke. I'm not playing with him. She pulls up to Maurice's place, and he is like, what do you want? He comes outside. She's like, no, bring the girl out here. Bring the girl out here. They pull off for a second. She pulls back up. Maurice pulls Brianna's hair and then pulls one of her tracks out. So she gets out one of her pocket knives and she gets to swinging. She stabbed this man one time. He lets out a huge and then she puts him in the car and drives him to the hospital. Now, when she got to the hospital, she knew she was in trouble. Like, at this point, what are you going to do? She tells the hospital worker, I don't know. I think maybe like a car door hit him and I think he'll be fine. Turns out he passes away a couple of hours later. She is nowhere to be found and the police are involved because now it's a homicide. When she took this man to the hospital, she left her name and number, so it did not take long for the police to find her. And when she's questioned by the police, she's like, I mean, I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't do anything. Somebody else did it. Okay, maybe I did do it. Okay, but I didn't stab him. Like, it was just a little pokey poke. Maurice was stabbed one time, and it wasn't a slash. It wasn't a poke. It was a stab that was 1.5 inches deep, and it cut some major arteries, so he ended up passing away. Now, Bree tried to do battered woman. She tried to say that, it was an abusive situation, but the court wasn't hearing that, and she got charged with second-degree murder. The stories that she told the police to try to get out of this was crazy. You're going to have to listen to Sisters Who Kill podcast to get all the details.
This is a prime example of what I was talking about, how women kill men too. Like, you don't know the signs. Like, she was showing them. I ain't gonna even lie. She was showing the shit out them signs. But for most people, you don't. This wasn't like a serial killer murder. This was like she got upset and did cut him. Probably not with the intentions to kill him, but to hurt him for sure. But yeah, man, ain't none of that stuff work. If somebody cheating on you, let them go. Let them go. Let them go. You making yourself look like a fool. Because prior to that person cheating, nobody even knew about you until you came in and started acting a fool. Like, let it go.
Get on your face. Get on the fucking ground. Get on your fucking face. Get on your face. Get on your fucking face. They killing me. They killing me. Roll the fuck over. They killing me. They killing me. They killing me. Let me go. 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 Hold on, Ed. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. I got it. That's Atlee's on. Let me go. Relax, man. All right, we got him secure. Relax. All you guys coming up. Relax. From the other direction. Relax. That way. Go. Oh, yeah. Don't secure that whole area. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Everybody down there needs to be talked to. I can't breathe. He walked up from down there. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You are breathing fine. I can't breathe. We're gonna help you up, okay? I can't breathe. Hey, roll him on the side real quick. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Yeah, he may be on some drugs. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We're gonna help you up, man. We're gonna help you up. I can't breathe. He may be on some drugs. He's getting you up. He's getting you up.
Yeah, he definitely on something.
Hey, good job, Ellie. I saw it right there, and I see him like throwing his hands up and stuff. Hold on.
Because to commit a crime like that and then act like you a victim, you on something.
It's down his leg. Hey, I got a knife in my center console. Grab the knife out of my center console. Grab the knife out of my center console. What do you need? Grab the knife out of my center console.
Yeah, he on something.
I got him. I'm gonna cut it off. It's in my center. Right where my... Yeah. You got a knife? Huh? You got a knife? Nah, that's not gonna work. Hey, Allie, let me get that knife. It's a zero right here. Yeah.
Oh, use the back. Hey, I got gloves. Hey, use the back side of this. It'll cut the fabric. Like rip the fabric with this.
I got gloves. You guys got it? Yeah, you got it. Put gloves on so we can get the zero. Watch out. Got the zero.
Rest in beauty. Tiana Major.
The shootings
This
in Pine
is
Hills
so
took the lives of
sad.
3 people, including this 9-year-old girl here and this Spectrum News 13 reporter. Now, the girl's mother and another News 13 employee are still recovering tonight. We want to give you a look at how this deadly violence unfolded. Deputies say at 11 a.m. Wednesday, they found a woman who had been shot to death on the corner of Hialeah Street and Harrington Drive. Then just after 4 p.m., deputies found a reporter and photographer with Spectrum News 13 who had been shot in that same neighborhood. And in a home close by, a 9-year-old and her mother were also shot.
Shortly after the last 4 victims were found, the suspect, 19-year-old Keith Moses, was arrested. Our team coverage continues tonight. West 2's Marlene Martinez spoke with the family spokesperson of the 9-year-old girl. We want to start with West 2's Gail Pascal Brown, who spoke to a man who ran outside of his home to help the Spectrum employees after hearing the gunshots. Gail.
Yeah, after he heard those 6 gunshots, he ran out of his home to help both photographer Jesse Walden as well as reporter Dylan Lyons. Dylan Lyons is a UCF graduate here at the Nicholson School of Communication and Media, and as you can see, there is a growing memorial.
The first shooting was a white car. When I came out, the doors were open. There was a young black man screaming, and there was a lady on the floor, and the police officers were doing the first aid.
38-year-old Natasha Augustine died on the scene. Orlando says the murder happened right on his street at Hialeah and Harrington in Pine Hills. Everything was cleared, and then just after 4, more gunshots.
When I look out the window, I see the young black man walking right there with the gun in his hand. He had black and black and dressed.
Rest in handsomeness.
When I looked to my left,
Dylan
I saw
Lyons.
the one guy holding
Prayers
his groin,
needed for
bleeding
these
and
families.
shaking. And I screamed at him, "Did you get shot?" And he said, "Yes." So I ran over there. And then I called 911.
Deputies say it was photographer Jesse Walden of Spectrum News 13. He survived. Orlando says reporter Dylan Lyons was in the car, passenger side, with his open laptop. While talking to the dispatcher, Orlando and a neighbor got him out of the car.
We put the towel on the wound and kept pressing and kept screaming, "Sir, sir, please listen. Sir, can you hear me? Please, Father God, give him strength. Please, Father God, save this man." And then the police came. I got up from the ground and I came home because it was too much.
Dylan Lyons was pronounced dead at the hospital.
I held him and I cried. You know, it's sad because I've never seen this in my life. I never seen nobody get shot. Then the second car parked right there. Parked in the same spot.
Orlando says the news team parked in the same spot where the first murder happened.
He was right there. He didn't shoot at me. I'm blessed to be alive.
But Orlando, who's lived here for 6 years, says this neighborhood is good.
So I don't want anybody to say that the neighborhood is bad. Pine Hills, this part of Pine Hills, is not. We've never heard gunshots. We don't have police activity. We don't have drug dealers. We don't.
And that's that man standing up, man. But rest in peace to Tiana Major and Dylan Lyons. I don't even remember this happening, but that boy that did that, bro, he was on something. That's just like that kid that was in Memphis just rolling around shooting people for no reason, man. Just on something, some type of drug, man. There's some drug out there that's making these young cats do this, and just be aware of your surroundings and stay strapped.
Has love ever made you do some crazy things? This is Larkita Coyer from Detroit. Now, growing up, it was Larkita, her mom, and her grandmother all living under one roof. When Larkita was in high school, she was on the basketball team, and she met 17-year-old Sharon Patterson. Now, she was 17, Larkita was 16. The two were young, they were in love, and you know teenagers, especially lesbian teenagers in love, they were in love. Now, Sharon was homeless. She was bouncing around from house to house in high school. And for a while, Larkita was like sneaking her in. So at first, it was kind of like, this is my best friend staying over, but you know how that go. But then Larkita's mom and grandmother caught her and Sharon making out, doing things they weren't supposed to in the house, and Larkita's mom wasn't having that. And one of the main people that was just constantly ragging on Larkita was Larkita's grandmother, just talking everything about how much she was a lesbian, that she was liking girls, that she had girls in the house. It was a lot. So Larkita's mom put a rule in place that Sharon was not allowed in her house without supervision. And then eventually Sharon's mom was like, actually, she's just not allowed in this house at all. So it's February 17, 2003, and the girls decide that they're going to skip school early and they're going to go back to Larkita's house. They knew that Larkita's mom wasn't going to be there, but grandma was going to be there, right? So they go into the basement, they're trying to have some alone time, they're making out, and grandma hears a noise. She comes downstairs and she finds Sharon and Lakita making out in the basement, and she's like, Sharon is not allowed in this house, and you know this. 5 minutes. She needs to be out of this house in 5 minutes or I'm calling the police. At this point, both of the girls are upset. They can't believe what just happened. Sharon's getting kicked out of the house. Larkita feels like she's stuck in the middle, and they're just angry. And Larkita's really upset because her grandmother's always saying things to her. And she was at the point where she was just like, I hate that bitch. And then Larkita was like, well, if she's dead, we ain't got to worry about it. So the girls then start plotting what they're going to do to grandmother. So the plan was that they were going to ambush grandma at the house. They were going to choke her. They were going to hit her with a hammer. And they did. And afterwards, they look at the scene and it's a bloody mess. In a very poor attempt to get rid of evidence, the girls set the house on fire, leave, go see a movie, and come back to their home in flames. A neighbor saw the girls leave the house and they immediately told the police. The girls were arrested that night and questioned. Both girls were charged as adults and they received life in prison. Then it became unconstitutional for minors to be serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. So they got resentenced. When I say they got resentenced like within the past 2 years. This is Sharon now. She just got resentenced a year ago. This is Larkita now, also recently resentenced. And it's kind of crazy that as a teenager, you got sentenced to life in prison, and then after almost 20 years of serving that life sentence, you find out that there is a possibility for you to get out from the crime that you committed when you were a teenager. And I guess the question is the justice system fair? We get into all the details of the case and ponder these questions on Sisters Who Kill podcast. Make sure you check it out.
They ass should have stayed locked up. But hey, if you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Go over to the Discord, man. It's free. Join up. Send me videos you want to see me react to, man. But until next time, folks.